Hi, my loves. Welcome back to the Starscartel channel. If you don't know, I am Star, okay? It's nice to meet you if you're just now joining me. If you are returning, hey, my love, I love you so much, okay? Let's get into this message. In this dream, y'all, I am going to go shopping, okay? My favorite pastime. But, anyways, that's what I was doing in this dream. And while I'm driving to, it was like a little shopping center. I was really in a strange place. I had never seen this area before. But anyways, I'm driving to go shop and I see a car or a truck run into a motorcycle. The woman that was riding the motorcycle ends up kind of flying off of the motorcycle. And while she's trying to get herself up, because she wasn't hurt, she was fine. Somebody comes and this guy, random guy that was standing by, comes, jumps on her motorcycle and takes off on it. And she starts crying hysterically about her motorcycle, about her bike. And so I get out my truck, I park my truck, get out my truck, and I'm running to her to go and help her. And she ends up walking away from me. Somebody she knew for whatever reason was standing over there, and she walks up to them and she starts talking to them about what happened. And I'm trying to help her. I'm asking her if she's okay. Do you want me to help? And she's just turning her back to me like, I don't need your help. And I was like, okay, girl, fine. Okay, I don't know why, but I completely forgot about my truck being parked at the light. And I walk over to the store and I realized that while I was trying to help her, the store closed. So I get upset about the store being closed. Ironically, while I'm at the door to the store, I saw several people come up to me with their camera phones, recording me and taking pictures of me. I don't know why, but I eventually say, okay, fine. So I ended up walking the long way around this parking lot. Probably because of me just being shy. I don't know if it's because I'm shy and I'm awkward, and the girl that turned her back to me was standing the quicker way, but I ended up walking the long way around because I remembered about my car, my truck. And when I go over there, it's gone. Like somebody took it. And I was like, somebody took my truck, somebody took my car. I was so irritated and so upset. And I end up walking around and like all of a sudden I'm in this new car. Like it was a nice new car. It was laid, okay? It was bad, okay? Grandma playing stilettos, puffs, the club. Yeah, I don't know why that song was playing, but that was playing. And I'm driving and I end up turning back onto the street, but I didn't realize I was in the wrong lane. And I end up like it was dark, so I couldn't see. I don't know why my lights weren't on, but I just couldn't see, or I was just constantly thinking about what had just happened, and I ended up hitting into this construction site or whatever, and my new car was messed up. Okay, I was so upset. And this random song started playing by Trina, but I have never heard this song. I don't know if she even made this song. It was just, and the crazy thing is, like, y'all, it was legit a bop, okay? Like this, it was a bop, but I never heard this song before. But I know it's her voice. It was Trina's voice, and she was talking about riding in a Mercedes. That's all I can really remember about it. It had a beat going to it, everything. And I never heard this song before. And I don't recall her ever making this song. It was just a random song with her voice to it, okay? Okay, the scripture God gives me comes from Nehemiah 13. On that day, the book of Moses read aloud in the hearing of the people, and there it was found written that no Ammonite or Moabite should ever be admitted into the assembly of God, because they had not met the Israelites with food and water, but had hired Balaam to call a curse down on them. Our God, however, turned the curse into a blessing. When the people heard this law, they excluded from Israel all who were foreign of foreign descent. Before this, Elishab, the priest, had been put in charge of the storerooms of the house of our God. He was closely associated with Tobiah, and he had provided him with a large room formerly used to store the grain offerings and incense and temple articles, and also the tithes of grain, new wine, and olive oil prescribed for the Levites, musicians, and gatekeepers, as well as contributions for the priests. But while all this was going on, I was not in Jerusalem. For in the 32nd year of Artaxerxes, king of Babylon, I had returned to the king. Sometime later, I asked his permission and came back to Jerusalem. Here, I learned about the evil Elishib had done in providing Tobiah a room in the courts of the house of God. I was greatly displeased and threw all of Tobiah's household goods out the room. I gave orders to purify the rooms, and then I put back into them the equipment of the house of God with the grain offerings and the incense. Okay. I also learned that the portions assigned to the Levites had not been given to them, and that all the Levites and musicians responsible for the service had gone back to their own fields. So I rebuked that officials and asked them, "Why is the house of God neglected?" Then I called them together and stationed them at their posts. All Judah brought the tithes of grain, new wine, and olive oil into the storerooms. I put Shelemiah the priest, Zadok the scribe, and a Levite named Pedaiah in charge of the storerooms, and made Hannah, son of Zakur, the son of Mattaniah, their assistant. Because they were considered trustworthy, they were made responsible for distributing the supplies of their fellow Levites. Remember me for this, my God, and do not blot out what I have so faithfully done for the house of my God and its services. Okay. I feel like with this scripture, wow, I'm almost feeling like I wasn't supposed to help this person. And that's why everything turned out the way it was. God had sent me, I don't remember what I was going to shop for, but I feel like God was actually sending me to go somewhere to do something. And I got distracted by seeing somebody that needed help. And I'm going to say that I don't feel like God is saying that we should not help people. But sometimes, even in that instance, I feel like it was nothing I really could do anyways. Because in these days and times, you don't want no stranger in your car. In these days and times, you don't know what people are planning, what people are plotting. And I wouldn't be surprised if the woman in my dream was the one that stole my truck. And I almost feel like this is a warning that if something looks fishy, stay out of it. Stay out of it. If it looks fishy, stay out of it. You don't know. You don't get in God's way. Don't get in God's way. Stay out of God's way, because you don't know what people have done to cause certain things to happen to them. And I feel like in this situation, my heart was in the way. My heart was supposed to be somewhere else. I was supposed to be doing what I was doing. And instead of doing what I was supposed to be doing, I stopped to try to help someone that didn't need help and didn't want help. And it distracted me from my mission. This woman was a distraction. Really, it was. She was a distraction. I wouldn't be surprised now that I think about the way that it happened, because they didn't really, motorcycles are dangerous. And typically, if you get in an accident, you are in trouble. But this person barely hit this bike, just enough for her to fall off. And the person that got on the bike, I don't know if they were where they came from, but they came out of nowhere. It's like they knew it was going to happen. That's just like my truck was gone. Like they knew what I was going to do. They had somebody standing there for her to go and talk to. She knew that person that was standing. They weren't on her bike. They wasn't in the truck. This was somebody that was placed there on purpose. And I feel like this is a warning from God for somebody. If you don't use discernment in your decisions and some of the things that you do, you could end up in a trap, because you never know who's watching you and who's plotting against you. Like I said, when I went to the store, people were recording me and taking pictures of me. And I was like, what in the world is going on with these? Who are these people? And why are y'all recording me? And now that I think about it, it was planned. It was a plan. It was a plot against me, and I didn't even see it. Had I carried on doing what I was supposed to be doing, I wouldn't have even ended up in that mess. I wouldn't have ended up in any of these problems. And even though at the end of the dream I ended up in a nice new car, I feel like the crash was like, if you would stay on the course that you are supposed to be on, you wouldn't worry about the crash. You wouldn't have to worry about any kind of crash or any kind of problems. So this is for somebody. God has gave you simple instructions. Okay, follow the instructions that God has given you. Don't get off your course, because I feel like these people were put there specifically by the devil, by the evil one, to try to throw me off of the course that God had already prepared for me. So that is the message. Whoever this person is or whatever is going to happen, it is going to be something that is planned specifically to take you off of your course. It is something planned specifically to cause you stagnations, to cause you problems. And like I said, in these days and times, you got to be careful, because you don't know what people planning. And I done seen with my own eyes how people will plot and plan and scheme on people they don't know. Especially if you are on a platform, you got to be careful. You don't know who is watching you, who is looking at you. You don't know what kind of traps people have for you. I feel like this is even for someone that's traveling. If God sends you somewhere, if God is sending you on a mission, you are not to do anything other than what God has asked you to do. That is what God is saying. You are not to do anything other than what God has asked you to do. If you go off of the course that God has set you on, you could very well end up in a trap. And God is going to have to come and save you. Stay on your course. That's the meaning of the ending part of the dream, where I ended up turning down the wrong road. That's what happened with this situation. I went the wrong way. I should have kept doing what I was supposed to be doing and allowed the police to do their jobs. Just like I say in the comment section of my dreams, I am not a police officer. It was nothing I could do. The only thing that I should have done in that situation, after seeing that she was just fine and she walked herself over there, is call the police and get back in my vehicle and carry on with what God asked me to do. Don't force it. Don't force yourself upon people. If they don't want help, leave them alone. If they seem as though they are doing just fine, especially in a situation like this, because you don't know what people are planning against you. And it's almost as if when I got to the store, they were recording me in a means to mock me, because they had successfully went through with their plan. Not only was the store closed, but my vehicle was gone. Stay on the course that God gave you. Don't leave from your course, because if you leave from your course, you may end up in a snare. And that is the message. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Deuces.